3 nights ago, I was sitting in my car outside a stranger's house, watching my husband hug another woman. And for a few terrifying seconds, I thought my entire marriage was over. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. I couldn't breathe, because after months of secret late nights, hidden phone calls, and excuses that never quite made sense, I was finally about to catch him. Or at least, that's what I thought. What happened next completely destroyed everything I believed about my husband, because the truth was far worse and far more complicated than cheating. And by the time I learned what he'd been hiding for the last 4 years, I wasn't sure if I was married to a liar or the most selfless man I'd ever known. My name is Emily. I'm 29 years old. I've been married to my husband Jake for 4 years. And until recently, I thought we had the kind of marriage people envied. Not perfect, but solid. The kind where you trust each other completely. Or at least, that's what I believed. Looking back now, the signs were there. I just ignored them. Every single one. It started about 6 months ago. Jake began working late. At least, that's what he told me. I didn't question it. People get busy. Projects happen, deadlines happen, life happens. But then it became a pattern. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Every week, without fail. He'd leave for work in the morning and come home long after midnight. Every time I asked about it, he had an answer ready. Almost too ready. A difficult client, an emergency meeting, a last-minute problem. Always something, always believable. And somehow, that made it worse. Because I wanted to believe him. I loved him. I trusted him. So I kept telling myself I was being paranoid. Until the phone changed everything. One Saturday morning, Jake was taking a shower. His phone was sitting on the kitchen counter. Something that hadn't happened in months. Usually it never left his side. Not for a second. But that morning, he forgot it. I wasn't planning to touch it. I wasn't planning to snoop. Then it buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. I glanced down, and my entire world stopped. The message preview said, "See you tonight." That's it. Just 4 words. Those 4 words felt like a knife. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen, trying to convince myself there had to be an explanation. Then I noticed something else. The message wasn't from a name. It was from a contact saved as M. Just 1 letter. No last name, no details, no explanation. My heart started pounding. I stood there for nearly a minute, doing absolutely nothing, just staring, trying to decide if I wanted to know the truth. Because once you know, you can't unknow. Eventually, Jake came downstairs, smiled at me, kissed my forehead, asked if I wanted breakfast, and suddenly, I hated that smile. Not because he'd done anything wrong, but because I wasn't sure anymore. That night, he told me he had another work meeting, another late night, another excuse. And for the first time, I didn't believe him. I smiled, told him to drive safely, waited 5 minutes after he left, then grabbed my keys and followed him. The entire drive, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Part of me wanted to turn around. Part of me wanted to go home, pretend none of this was happening. But another part needed answers. No matter how much they hurt, Jake turned into a quiet neighborhood. Not downtown, not near his office, not anywhere that looked remotely work-related. Just rows of small houses, families, porches, driveways, normal people living normal lives. Then he pulled over, parked, and got out. I parked across the street, far enough away that he wouldn't notice me, close enough that I could see everything. My heart felt like it was going to explode. Then the front door opened. A woman stepped outside. She looked about my age, dark hair, jeans, sweater. Beautiful. My chest tightened instantly. This was it. This was the moment. The moment every married person fears. The moment everything falls apart. I watched Jake walk toward her, and I swear for those few seconds, I stopped breathing. Then something happened that made no sense. Instead of kissing her, he handed her an envelope. The woman looked inside and immediately started crying. Not happy tears, not romantic tears, desperate tears. Jake wrapped his arms around her, comforting her, protecting her. And suddenly, nothing looked the way I'd imagined. Another person came outside. An elderly man, thin, fragile, walking with a cane. Jake rushed forward, helped him sit down. The woman kept crying. The old man looked exhausted, and I sat there in complete confusion, because whatever I was looking at, it wasn't an affair. At least, it didn't look like one. I stayed there for nearly an hour, trying to understand, trying to make sense of what I was seeing, but I couldn't. The next morning, I confronted him. No games, no hints, no pretending. I looked him straight in the eyes and asked, "Who is she?" Jake froze, completely froze. The color drained from his face. For a moment, I thought he might lie. Instead, he sat down, covered his face with his hands, and whispered something that changed everything. "She's my sister." I honestly thought I'd misheard him. His sister? What sister? Jake had never mentioned having a sister. Not once. Not in 4 years. Not while dating. Not during our engagement. Not during our marriage. Never. Then he told me the truth. A truth he'd been hiding almost his entire life. When Jake was 16, his father disappeared. No warning, no explanation, no goodbye. Just gone. His mother fell apart. Debt piled up, bills piled up, life became chaos. And Jake spent years raising his younger sister, cooking meals, working part-time jobs, protecting her, keeping the lights on, trying to survive. Eventually he left home, built a career, built a future, built the life we shared. But he never stopped helping her. The woman I'd seen was his sister Megan. The elderly man was their grandfather. And recently, his health had become much worse. Medical bills were destroying them. Jake had been secretly helping, paying expenses, buying groceries, covering treatment costs, doing everything he could. I should have felt relieved, and part of me did, but another part felt completely betrayed. Because there was one detail he hadn't mentioned yet. The money. The money helping his family was coming from our savings account. Our account. Not his, ours. Thousands of dollars, gone, without a conversation, without permission, without honesty. And suddenly, the problem wasn't another woman. The problem was trust. The problem was secrecy. The problem was that my husband had made life-changing decisions without me. We fought. Not screaming matches. Worse. The quiet kind. The kind where two people sit in the same room feeling miles apart. Eventually, we started counseling, and for the first time, Jake told me everything. Every fear, every regret, every painful memory he'd spent years burying. And slowly, I started understanding. Not agreeing, not excusing. Understanding. There's a difference. Today, we're still together. His sister is stable. His grandfather is receiving treatment. And our marriage survived. Barely. But sometimes, late at night, I still think about that message. See you tonight. 4 simple words. 4 words that convinced me my husband was having an affair. 4 words that led me to a truth I never expected. A truth about loyalty, about family, about secrets, and about trust. So now I have a question for you. Jake hid the truth for years, but he was helping his struggling family. I felt betrayed, but there was never another woman.
Honestly, I don't think either of them was completely right. Jake's heart was in the right place. He wasn't cheating. He wasn't wasting money on himself. He was trying to save his family. And that's something most people can respect. But marriage is built on trust. And trust doesn't survive secrets. Emily had every right to feel betrayed. Not because he helped his sister, but because he spent years making major decisions without her knowledge. If Jake has trusted his wife with the truth from the beginning, they could have carried that burden together. Jake was right for helping his family. Emily was right for feeling hurt. And the real mistake was the secrecy that nearly cost them both everything. What's your opinion? Write down in the below comments.